We did good. We're further along than we were this time last year because we have a lot more guys that have played. I thought the play calling was smoother. The quarterbacks didn't have to look, back and get the signals again as often as they had to this time last year. We didn't have to stop and recall the plays very often. We did a better job early. As far as taking care of the football, wasn't on the ground very much. So a lot of good things today.
Just noticed that Rashard Frazier's not on the roster.
He didn't come back. We had some concerns about it. We had talked about it some over the course of the summer. He wasn't sure what he was going to do. So he didn't come back. So we'll move on without him.
What's that mean for the defensive end spot? Because you ship somebody over there, you feel.
Well, right now we had Robert Macy pulled a hamstring a week or so ago. Working on his 40-yard dash time, and when that happened and Rashad didn't come back, then we put Ryan Isaacs out there some and played him some out at the end, which is good because Ryan's a good player. He's strong and physical and has a great motor, and he's somebody that can whip a lineman and make a play. So he's further along than Rashad anyway. Rashad didn't come back, so we'll move on with that.
Are there some tackles that you feel comfortable other than Ryan moving out there? Or?
I think all those guys could go out there and have some success. You'd like to have a taller guy if you could. So maybe some of our shorter D tackles wouldn't be my first preference, but a good player like a Ryan Isaacs or a Bruce Gaskin can line up anywhere on an offensive lineman and make a play and whip a blocker and be successful. So we have some big, strong bodies to work with. So we have plenty.
Armando Harris back with the defense today.
Putting Armando back at corner, we have some concerns about Josh Johnson has a little bit of a foot issue. He was fine today, but it's one of those things that's really hard to get a handle on. In the past, those things can sneak up on you, and next thing you know, a guy be out. So when the season ended, Armando was our number 3 corner, and if something was to happen to our number 1 or number 2 corner, if Armando was on offense, then we would go to the number 4 corner pretty quick and the number 5th corner pretty quick. We don't want to do that, particularly early in the season. As the season progresses, some of those other guys will get some reps and know what to do. But early, we want to keep our best guys over there, and Armando was one of them. So we have Armando Harris over there to work some at corner. He'll back up Josh some and back up Ricardo some, and he's our 3rd corner and the next guy to go in the game.
But Josh is things not supposed to.
He did fine today, but it's one of those things that it's a foot issue, and they come and they go, and he's one of our best players, and if something was to happen to him, there'd be a void. So we have to put one of our next best players that's ready to play over there right now, and that's Armando Harris.
Danny, the guys that ended last season with injury, how did they look today, do you think, collectively? And I thought it was nice seeing them on the practice.
Very pleased with it. Trevor Foy had shoulder surgery after the season, and he did a good job today. He shot his hands in air and was aggressive with his hands. Obviously we want him to get stronger, and that'll come over a period of time, but he did very well. He held up. He was aggressive. He didn't shy away a bit. He can help us this year. But Robert Marv got a bunch of reps and did well. He was a little rusty because he didn't get much in the spring, but I thought he had a much better understanding of the offense today, the first day of camp, than probably at any point in time last season. And then it was great to get Ralph out there. He looked very quick and very sudden. I didn't watch him a whole lot in the latter part of practice, but I thought he really stuck out in the first part of practice. He seemed very confident. He was cutting and slashing and dodging and darting and changing direction and looked very quick and very confident. I'm trying to think who else had been injured. Panfile came out, and the first time he's gotten any in a long time. He's got to get in a little bit better shape, but he seemed to hold up pretty good. So all of our injured guys came back out today. They looked pretty good, and I think they'll all be fine.
On that note, you talked a lot towards the end of last season about improving your strength and conditioning program coming into the summer. Can you talk about the changes that were made this offseason?
Well, I thought our new director of sports performance and his staff did a great job. They really didn't get in place until about March, so they kind of got a late start. But our guys really bought into their master plan, and they worked really hard this summer. And we've lost a lot of body fat. It's the first time since I've been back to Purdue that I didn't look around and see more fat guys than I would like to have seen. We don't have a whole lot of fat guys on our team right now, and that's a good sign. We went hard and long today, and I thought for the most part they held up pretty good. So I think we came back in good shape. We're a leaner, stronger football team. When they tested out a week ago, the strength and conditioning test, we're not allowed to see the results, but I've heard some of the kids talking, and we had a lot of guys that did really well numbers-wise, strength-wise. We had several defensive linemen that benched well in the 400s. I think we had about 10 guys that timed in the 4.4s or faster, so I think we're a stronger, faster football team than we were at this time last year, and certainly a more experienced football team than we were this time last year.
Does that help practice where you don't have to worry about the conditioning aspect of it? You can focus more on the back.
Well, that's the goal. We can go out there and practice at game speed and practice ourselves into shape. We'd like to do that, and not have to spend a lot of time on conditioning. If we don't practice at game speed and don't practice ourselves into game shape, then we'll use conditioning after practice to get ourselves into game shape. But I thought they did a pretty good job today pushing through it. We're not ready yet, but I thought we did pretty good for the first day.
Without Armando out there at wide receiver, you feel like you got to develop some of those young guys to give you some depth at wide out?
Well, we still have plenty of good players left over there. You have Justin Seller and Antavian Edison and Gary Bush and Gabe Holmes, and I really like what I'm seeing out of Tommy Thomas. Obviously Raheem Mosher is a fantastic talent, and he has to learn his plays, but he's one of our strongest, fastest skill guys on our team right now, even though he's just a freshman, so we still have plenty to work with over there. Charles Terwudzo made a great catch today. He's a big target. He's an aggressive player. He was redshirted last year, so he'll get his chances now, but we still have plenty of good players. We can also take some of our running backs and put those guys at some of the inside receiver positions. That's part of our master plan offensively anyway, from a personnel and grouping standpoint. So we still have plenty of good players, or we wouldn't have moved Armando over there. We thought that was the best place for him to service our football team right now. He's a very good football player on either side of the ball.
Dan was only out there for a half hour, but I was watching stretching, and Ricardo Allen's just smiling and smiling and smiling, and I don't get the perspective of coaching this guy. I know you got asked a lot about him during the offseason. It's just how joyful is it to coach a guy like that?
Well, he's a coach's dream because he loves football, and you don't have to motivate Ricardo Allen. He always comes ready to go. He's a self-motivated guy. He's a great leader by example. Everybody on the football team works and goes as hard as Ricardo Allen. We'll win a lot of football games this year. Really pleased with him. I think the encouraging part about Ricardo is, as well as he did last year, he's still hungry to do even better. So he'll do a great job this year.